equitable healthcare. We hope this short production gave you a better insight into the role of a national health insurance. For more information, contact the Secretariat on telephone.
Stay up to date with all that's happening with the new National Party, NNP. Send us a message via text or WhatsApp on 405-8683 with your name, email, and constituency. Stay in the know with NNP. Get updated.
It's coming, the new family of EC polymer notes.
What is different about these notes?
The feel.
Polymer notes are made from a thin plastic film which makes the notes feel smoother than the paper notes.
The orientation.
The notes have a portrait orientation. You will read the notes from top to bottom instead of left to right as you do with the paper notes.
Unique tactile feature.
The front of each note has raised bumps at the top left-hand corner. These bumps form shapes that are familiar to you.
Holographic foil strip.
This feature is on the $20, $50, and $100. When you tilt the notes, the images and colors in this section will change.
New image on the $50.
The back of the $50 bears the image of former governor of the ECCB, the late Honorable Sir K. Dwight Venner.
New signature.
All the notes bear the signature of the current governor, Timothy N.J. Antoine.
EC polymer notes. Cleaner, safer, stronger.
Stay up to date with all that's happening with the new National Party, NNP. Send us a message via text or WhatsApp on 405-8683 with your name, email, and constituency. Stay in the know with NNP. Get updated. Stay in the know with NNP. Get updated.
You're listening to Hard Talk Grenada via www.hardtalkgrenada.com.
The strength of the iron, it's in the testing. Bring them up. It's not a loss, it's just a lesson. Be grateful for your blessings. You've been digging deep to find that in our strength. No, it's not the time to give up. No, nah. I'm telling you, nothing that will never defeat. Where we control your destiny. I'm telling you, take your hand and point it up in the ceiling for me. I feel so irate. Wake up and I'm ready. Must make it ever steady. Setting goals is necessary while they hide. Precious time they wasting like a disease. It starts spreading. Now it shift their eyesight. I say, I don't know why. Some will worry about our next man's drive. Try to match up our next man's life. Fix your life. And as soon as I start walking on, you want to make something must be wrong, your man. I don't come here for that. All you help me one and that's what I'm telling you. I'm telling you nothing that will never defeat. Where we control with your destiny. I'm telling you. Take your hand and point it up in the ceiling for me. I'm telling you, rule number one, we don't come to beg nothing from them. I'm telling you, the people music, look everybody chanting. I'm telling you, the people business while we come to need blessings. I'm telling you, don't direction time so help me broadcasting message. No bad vibes on my side. We fuel
Good morning to you, Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. Once again, it is time for Hard Talk. My name is Sheldon Scott.
And I'm Devon Romain.
And this is Hard Talk. We're live, coming to you via 97.5 CitysoundFM,
89.5 CRFM,
92.9 Sister Isles FM, out there on the beautiful Sister Isles of Carriacou and Petit Martinique.
and in Brooklyn, 94.9 We Noise Radio.
Yes, indeed. Good morning to you, Wade. Good morning to all the lovely listeners out there in Radio Land, wherever you are, locally, regionally, internationally. Even if you're in a submarine passing on the east coast of Grenada under the water right now, we say a special Grenadian good morning to you. Yes, Surface and What's Wrong now, man. It's a nice place here. Surface and What's Wrong. Nice, yeah. So, of course, it is a Friday. Yeah, we should have guests in studio with us in our timing. Yeah, in our timing, we should have some guests inside with us. But Devon, before the guests arrive, let's let people know what's happening this weekend, man. Tonight, where's the place to be tonight?
Park Dragon Bay is the place to be tonight.
And it's free?
Free.
All right.
So just go and support the bar, support local Kaiso, and so different artists in Dragons Bay. That's the Northwest Kaiso tent.
Northwest Brigade, yeah.
Northwest Brigade out there at Dragons Bay, 8 p.m. It's free. Right, go out there and support.
Zingo and the crew.
Yes, and the crew. And based on my information, there is a lot of young artists, coming out of that Northwest Brigade. So go out there.
I know Baraka used to be there. I'm not sure on the lineup these days, so I'm not sure if Baraka is there or if he's with another tent. Yeah, but I know Baraka was one of those that you're hearing about from that particular tent.
Yep. Yeah. So go out there tonight in Dragons Bay and support. It's free. All you have to do is walk with a little money, support the bar, and have fun, enjoy yourself. Okay, and the scenery is wonderful.
Yeah. Okay? Mm-hmm. And then give the rest of the weekend, man.
Right.
Tell them.
Then Spice Mass Fridays continue, right? At the
Carnival City?
Carnival City.
Wait, yeah, you listen.
The National Complex. No, I don't have...
Wait, man, you can't tell me why you listen. Look at this, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, so Carnival City continues tonight.
Carnival
I think tonight is the final night for
tonight.
Carnival City. I think tonight is the final night for Carnival City. But they have judging tomorrow as well. Outside of the judging that's taking place at Dragons Bay tonight, they're judging tomorrow. So
Deluxe Cinema tomorrow.
Go right ahead.
At 8 o'clock, you have the Kaiso Bars. That's the Scholar and the rest of the guys out there in the Deluxe Cinema tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Okay? So go out there and support. It's $20. Right? Go out there. It's their night to be judged. And so you know.
Kaiso Bad?
Bars.
Oh, I thought they say Kaiso Bad.
No. They ain't bad. They're good, but they ain't bad. Understand? So that's for Saturday night at the Deluxe Cinema in Grenville. Right? So it's the Kaiso Bards.
Bards?
No, it's the Bards, yeah. Kaiso Bards. I never pay attention to the S, eh?
Yeah, there's Kaiso Bards, yeah.
Kaiso Bards. Deluxe Cinema. 8 p.m., $20. On Sunday, you have the Kaiso Kingdom out there in Natural Works. Sunday, the 21st, Natural Works, 8 p.m., it's $15, right? So that's the Kaiso tent, yeah. Kaiso Kingdom. That's with the former champion,
Roots.
Rootsman Kelly.
No, I think Roots is
Roots.
Roots tent is Rootsman. I'm not sure which one that one is.
Okay, all right. Okay, all right. So that's it. That's for Sunday. Well, Monday we have back to the Deluxe Cinema, 8 p.m. Right? We have the Fireworks Calypso tent. Okay, they will be judged at the Deluxe Cinema on the 22nd. That's Monday, July the 22nd, 8 p.m. $20. Okay, so that gives a rundown of the different tents, and so that'll be judged over this weekend to compete, to complete, I should say, the judging process to get to the semifinals. So by Monday night, Tuesday, you'll be able to hear the list of 5 semifinalists.
And folks, some of the Panyard line goes on, so you all could pass through. For instance, you could pass through by in Tantine, and you could go in there and you could check, you understand?
Passing by Cheroos, right, River Road.
Make the Panyard lime a thing. Yeah. So you could pass in the Panyard and see what's going on and so on.
Rainbow
check
City
Brian and them.
Yeah.
So you pass by the different Panyards and so show them your support and so on. Not just then, but during Panorama itself.
Go out and support.
Yeah, go on out and support the pan sides. Make a little pass.
If you notice, we have a different approach this year when it comes to the competition on the junior and seniors, and it starts at 2 p.m.?
No, there was some wrong information we have on the paper here. Brian, if you're listening, can you give me a call, please, so that you could clarify this to me? I'm trying to remember exactly what you said, but it is not as we have it down here on our paper, so we have to clarify that. So Brian, if you can give me a call, please, so that I could clarify, or anyone that has information in relation to the panorama, that you could give me a call so that we could fix that. All right, yeah. Hey, NNP St. Mark, good morning to you all. Yeah, I know they have a cruise coming up later in August there, boy. Yeah. I'm hoping I'm back in time for that one.
For that cruise, yeah.
Yeah, boy. I'm hoping I'm back in time for that one.
What's the date for that, for the cruise?
That's what I'm trying to pick up there now is, oh boy. The cruise is the 23rd. I might be back.
Yeah, you might be edging.
I might have to head from the airport straight to the cruise. Yeah, I might have to get a speedboat to come out and meet it.
I go wait for you, pick you up, and we go straight there.
Yeah,
right,
it's not easy to miss the carnival.
No,
yeah, but sometimes you have to do what you have to do.
What? Hey, better is you than me as boss.
Nah, but boss, I'm going to tell you about it.
When duty calls, you have no choice, man.
Yeah, I don't know why they couldn't put that trade in for another time,
When duty calls, you happen to be you. No, well, me, I am after, so.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, we got to take it.
Folks, just in case you're wondering what we're talking about, I'll be out for a couple of weeks, on one of the short courses. So I'll be out for a couple of weeks. I don't know if Devon will be alone or Devon might have somebody with him. We'll see what's going on. Because it's going to be during the carnival time. HARDTALK will be on, but I wouldn't be around for just a couple of weeks. Yeah, indeed. Yeah, it's now 44 minutes after the hour of 10 o'clock. And Devon, we do have fogging for today.
No fogging for today. Yeah.
No fogging for today. But, folks, I've been hearing some of the comments about the fogging and the fogging here and the not fogging there and this sort of things. But there are things that you can do in your area to reduce the mosquito population as well. One of the main ones that a lot of people don't pay attention to, you see the septic tanks? Yeah, those mosquitoes actually come in from inside your septic tank in a lot of instances.
Ensure that they seal properly.
Exactly. I remember there was one video of the officers going around and they were showing you they're taking a little leaf or coquille flex or whatever it was. Yeah. And they were showing you that little space.
Oh, yes.
That the mosquitoes were using that little space to get into there and reproducing the water. They don't need no clean water, Yeah, they're using septic tank water and they're reproducing as what? And they were terrorizing the area just by doing that.
Stagnant, nothing to disturb that water below there. So, and they fly out in the evening to see them fly out from these areas.
Yeah.
Because in the dust. That's when they come out.
So you need to ensure that the septic tanks and so on, that you seal them properly. Go around, look at them. Some people have them in a way that is just basically a concrete slab on top of the cistern itself. It's just a concrete slab on top. But you need to ensure that it's properly sealed right around. If not, what is going to happen there is that the mosquitoes are going to find themselves down inside there. They're going to reproduce. And then you find, even if they fog right now, the other mosquitoes that born that night and that was inside they hiding, going to come out and you're going to still have problems. Yeah? They could fog as much as they want, but if you don't do your part, you're going to still end up with a mosquito problem. I've seen areas where they fog. And right after the fogging crew leave the area, it's like the mosquitoes had the all clear and they come out again and they start to bite people.
And they're coming out with vengeance.
Yeah.
And
it's like, you kill my brother, you kill my family. I'll take revenge.
Another tip again, we can help, okay, by keeping our surroundings clean, okay? The empty bottles, the coconut shells and so that you just cut into and just leave exposed, the pans, the tins, the plastic bags, anything that can gather, right, water. Just a little bit of water, half cup, quarter cup of water, just gather in a small area and the mosquito have a chance to breed.
I have seen mosquitoes reproduce in a crown cork.
Yeah.
In a crown cork. That's all. Just as long as water can settle there and they have enough depth for them to be able to lay their eggs, I've seen mosquitoes reproduce in a crown cork.
It's
In other words, you
water.
open a beer and you throw the cork in the wrong area, it settles there, and water settles in that. Mosquitoes can reproduce in that.
And fast, rapidly today. They
Yeah.
don't, you get about 48 hours and you have the place swarming with mosquitoes.
Walking through a muddy area, and while you're walking through a muddy area and so your footprint and water settles in that, and mosquitoes.
2 days, that's all it's
Yeah.
48 hours.
Mosquitoes inside there. And the thing is this, that those like the muddy areas and so you may not be able to do much about those. But when it comes to the garbage, you can help reduce the mosquito population by, instead of taking the crown cork after you get your beer, you take the crown cork and you fling it in the bush, throw it in the dustbin instead. Yeah? Because you might say that's just a crown cork, but it might be creating over a period of time hundreds of mosquitoes because one set born now, a next set come, and a next set, and a next set, and a next set. Out of one crown cork that you throw in water keeps settling in. The bottles and the glass and plastic bottles, the tins that some people discard, yeah? Even the plastic that a lot of people are just throwing out. And there's still some people throwing out these things out of vehicles, huh? Still some people throwing these things out of vehicles. It gets caught up somewhere, even up in a tree, and the water settling it in the tree, the mosquitoes are going to form up there. Yeah? So you've got to be careful because they reproduce at a very, very significant rate. Yeah? Very significant rate. So in order to get them down, we must keep our surroundings clean. The bamboos, Devon. Well, a lot of people cut bamboo and they go to doing construction and so, and then they take the bunch of bamboo and they just drop it at the side and they leave it there. That creates a lot of mosquitoes. The tires, you change tires where you take the old ones home with you and you have it around there. Rainfall, it's settled. Mosquito ain't like nothing more than that. That's the best thing for them. I know. That is like cocaine to mosquitoes.
And then to top it off all, we have the derelict vehicles that continues to be on the side of the road or even in the driveways, right, of persons. You'll be surprised when you go into these vehicles, the amount of mosquitoes you see flying around. Plus, right, what is there in the old water settling and reproducing. We have to be very, very careful of our surroundings. Our health is our wealth, right? And the spread of, you leave mosquitoes to multiply, you basically encouraging the spread of a lot of disease. Dengue, right? We had the, what's it the name of
Chikungunya. Zika. And we don't want nothing else come, we good.
Good with that. So
after Chikungunya and Zika are good. Yeah. Zika was actually making people get paralyzed. That's how bad Zika was. You could get paralyzed. Ask King Manajamo. Yeah. Zika could actually paralyze you. And Chikungunya, that was crippling you all over your butt. Come on. We don't want that. Let's just reduce the mosquito population. Yeah. And what usually happens around now, Devon, is that with so many people coming into the country, some of these colds and viruses and so on come in with the people that are coming in now. So if you don't reduce the mosquito population now, and it's mosquito-borne, it can be transferred from person to person via mosquito. Yep. We could be in for some problems. And dengue has never left Grenada or any of the Caribbean islands. Dengue is there every single year. You have dengue making its rounds in different Caribbean islands. So be very, very careful.
And we have seen the beginning of the rain season, right? So there is water all over. So that is why it's so important. So important for especially in your surroundings, even in your neighbors' surroundings. Pay attention to what your neighbor have, right? What they are having the containers that they catch water in. Make sure it's covered. Make sure it's treated, and so you can do it yourself, minimizing the population of mosquito, right? Some of the things that we consider not to hold mosquito. You see, when you have a lot of garbage, may not be water, but maybe old bags, old containers. They don't have water in them, but they house mosquito in them. Because when the mosquitoes, come out and they born, and so they want a house too, So they have to find a place, and it's a dark, cool, and I guess that is where they go and meet and whatever. So we have to be very careful as to what we keep around our place. We can help each other by keeping our surroundings clean.
And folks, remember, it's coming up on the 3rd of August, the new National Party all-day fete at the Mount Helicon. Yes, so you can get your tickets at the Mount Telecon or from the different constituency representatives. And the price of the ticket only $10. So you're going to have enough food and drinks at the Mount Telecon on the 3rd of August. So looking forward to, well, I was going to say looking forward to seeing you all there, but I think I'll be gone by then. Yeah. Yes. So on the 3rd of August, head on out to the Mount Telecon. All right? That is beautiful.
Sheldon, I want to say good morning to the persons on the live who have joined us and so. And I want to say a special morning to Dr. Winston Thomas and so, who is on the medical treatment and everything like that. And Doc and family, our prayers is with you. And continue to ensure that, take care of him, ensure he has his treatment. He is the people's doctor. All right, you cannot afford for anything to happen to him at this point in time. So, I just want to,
and we say special good morning to Cami. And Cami for a few days. Yeah, Cami, good morning.
Cami's on the way there too. I saw her this morning. She came out from the medical.
Oh, yeah. And then her doctor, her real doctor, isn't there?
Her doctor too.
Yeah, so Cami, good morning. Yeah, we love you. Yeah. Hey, Helen Marie, good morning to you as well. Hope that you're having a fabulous morning this morning and everything is going all well and okay. We know that you're in the drive time now because, costumes are to make. Yeah, so Helen, she working down there, then back home and to the mass camp and all that sort of thing. Helen, yeah, boy. And then she has a children's band, In case, folks, you could go and check her still, for the children's band. You want the children to play mass, go and check Helen Marie. Tell her I send you. Just go and tell Helen Marie Sheldon send you. Yeah. Right? You'll get the Sheldon send you price. So go check Helen Marie, say Sheldon send you. Right? It's free for all you want to play mass with the big band. Yeah. Go, say Sheldon send all you will get the special Sheldon send all your price. Yeah? Nice.
That is just Sheldon. Devon ain't say nothing yet. So.
The Devon send you go come just now. Yes, indeed. Hey, let's just check the phone lines for a few minutes because our guest should be with us shortly. But also, Brian, if you get an opportunity, give us a call. Let us know what's taking place between the junior and senior panorama because I think we had an error on what we have in front of me. So I want to be sure that when I'm saying something, I'm saying the correct thing. So make sure and give us a call. Yeah, this is the man. I wish this man was in the groovy finals, man.
Magic in your eyes, the sweetness of your lips, the way those women looking, you could tell they're really sweet, Lord. Boom, but who is holding you tonight? Who is kissing them so right, Lord? Who is dancing with you tonight? You just the woman of the night. You just the woman of the night. Tell them that you love them. Tell them that you want them, baby. You just the woman of the night. You know I walk in kiss, and you know I like in this.
Let me check the phone line. Oh boy, yeah.
Boom, but who is holding?
Brian, if that was you calling, give us a call back.
Who is kissing them so right, Lord? Who is dancing with you tonight? You just the woman of the night. You just the woman of the night.
And you say woman and no women.
Tell them that you love them. Tell them that you want them, baby. You just the woman of the night. The beauty of a woman is right in front of you. But the tight white jeans she wear, and her body looking her face.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, we're getting ready. I think our guests are here, so we're getting ready to bring them on.
Lord, who is dancing with you tonight? You just the woman of the night.
Yes, indeed.
You just the woman of the night. Tell them that you love them. Tell them that you want them, baby.
Come on, man. No, Mr. West, how you could disappoint me so I will say I go hear you in the groovy, man. Yeah, Mr. West. You know, because I always like me.
Don't watch me so. Don't watch me so. Don't watch me so. Afraid your eyes. What did you happen to you? You look good. You have a good booty. Move it, man. Come on. Hey! Turn it back, girl, to hold it back. Shake it back, girl, to hold it back. Wind it back, girl, to hold it back. Yo! Roll it back, girl, to hold it back. Shake it back, girl, to hold it back. Move it back, girl, to hold it back. Yo! Boom! Darling! I don't mind, girl. You look fat, but you're thick. But you used to be bigger than that, baby. Don't hold it back. You have a wings in the back. Who flying on that? You have a wings in the back. Who propping up that? You have a wings in the back. Boom! Look the man in the back. Hey, hey. I love me woman with big bottom. And really love to wine. I love me woman big tall and sweet. Honey, have a good understand.
I decide to compose another sweet calypso again. But this time, I want it to be real plain. I ain't putting no kind of double meaning. The smallish child must understand what I'm saying. I don't want no misinterpreting when the music playing. In most establishments, whether big or small, the workers do them like a daisy call. It's like they're doing you a favor when you go to their business place. Some of them playing games on computer, production time going to waste. We need better customer service here in this place. You lazy government or even private worker, I wanna tell you straight in your face. We need better customer service here in this place, and it will be in everyone's interest.
We need better customer service.
Let's make it a general practice.
We need better customer service.
Just like tourism, let's make it everybody's business.
We need better customer service.
Especially in emergency crisis, we need better customer service. Don't treat us so. Take for instance, we have a case of emergency. The police, ambulance and fire must respond immediately. But anytime you call the police station, they never have no form of transportation, so they can't respond to the phone call that could have saved somebody's son. And if you're lucky, you get hold of the ambulance, but your odds is like 1 in a million chance. And the fire truck does always come when the place done burn. Sometimes they even come without water. My people, this is a disgrace. We need better customer service here in this place. It's time to stop treating the consumer worse than some human waste. We need better customer service here in this place, and it will be in everyone's interest.
We need better customer service.
Let's make it a general practice.
We need better customer service.
Just like tourism, let's make it everybody's business.
We need better customer service.
Especially in emergency crisis, we need better customer service. Whoa, whoa, whoa. When you providing a service, always put the customer first. Because without any patrons, your business go bust. Get up the phone and attend to the people quick. You must be friendly, courteous and meek. Each one should be accommodated, not made to feel stupid. have to wait almost half an hour. When your activities is not what they're paying you for, you got to see so scant, you come asking me what you want. It's like you wake up on the wrong side of the bed this morning. You need to put a smile on your face. We need better customer service here in this place. I come to give you a serious warning. Have respect for the human race. We need better customer service here in this place, and it will be in everyone's interest. We need better customer service. Let's make it a general practice. We need better customer service. Just like tourism, let's make it everybody business.
We need better customer service.
Especially in emergency crisis. We need better customer service.
Yes, indeed. We're back. We were just making sure we settled everything and everything was okay and proper. Yeah. We have one of our guests so far in studio with us. The other is on the way. So in studio with us, we have none other than Stan the Man. Mr. Stan Phillip. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing fine.
Nice, beautiful man. How are things going?
It's going the way it's supposed to go.
Yeah, let me just get that mic a little closer to you. Nice,
All
yeah.
right, yes.
Yeah, man. I realize that you've been doing a lot of work and so, and I know insurance and thing is your thing.
Yeah, that's what I was trained to do.
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
Yes.
And in fact, right now we're looking at national health insurance for Grenada. What are your views on that?
Yeah, the thing is, I've been involved with this since 1998, 99.
Wow.
The very first advisory committee that the government set up. Kennedy Roberts at the time was the chairman of that committee. So I served on that committee, and I was asked in 2013 to serve on the committee again. So I've had some exposure to the subject. I've done quite a bit of research, and I have a general idea, I should say, about this.
So let me ask this though, because a lot of individuals, they keep hearing about NHI, National Health Insurance. How, in your view, and having been part of the different committees, does National Health Insurance help anyone? Help, for instance, I have an injury. How does it help me?
Okay, well, the thing is that let's look at why National Health Insurance is promoted, and you may have heard other people saying that instead of Grenada going to National Health Insurance, we should go to Universal Health. I heard that argument. But there's a recognition that health is a basic human right. And all should be done to ensure that people have access to health services. So what National Health Insurance intends to do is to bridge the gap and ensure that everyone, irrespective of his financial ability to pay or not to pay, or his color, his creed, is able to access health care. So National Health Insurance would basically level the playing field as far as health is concerned. Whereas now, if you don't have money and you're sick, you either do a motorcade or you wait for the inevitable. In fact, I remember in 2017, I was in Colombia because, leading up to this, we wanted to do quite a bit of research. So we went to Colombia. Dr. George Mitchell, the chief medical officer, was there also. And I remember we went to this hospital, and this gentleman asked, well, you guys are trying to describe to me your health services in Grenada, but we notice there's a gap. And his question was, what if somebody needs tertiary or advanced care and they are not able to pay for it? What's going to happen? Because based on what you told us, that's what he's saying, they would probably have to travel overseas.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm saying, using our local phrase, they'll go under. So he thought I was talking about Australia. So he said, how would they get to Australia? And I said to him, they'll die. You see, Sheldon, the fact is, there are people in Grenada right now who are just waiting to die, unfortunately, because they cannot afford to take care of themselves medically. There are some illnesses that the intervention that's needed costs money, and they don't have it.
Mm-hmm.
And what the concept of national health insurance is that because health should be a basic human right, person should not be having to make a decision. Like a mother has $100 in her pocket, and she just came from doctor, and the doctor said your medication is going to cost $60. And she knows if she buys the medication, she's not able to send her children to school for the week. She has to choose between sending her children to school or taking care of her health. People should not be put in a position where they have to choose between their health and either feeding their children or taking care of themselves. And national health insurance is intended to ensure that people are not disadvantaged, that the care that's needed is made available to everyone. Yeah.
So the national health insurance, therefore, is to help look after those who generally, in the normal context, would not be able to look after themselves.
Well, everybody, because you see, as I say also to those people who have the insurance card and can fly to the US or Canada or UK, we have returning nationals who go every year for the medical. Fine, that's when you're on your feet. If something happens to you at 9 o'clock at night, how would you get to the US? You can't get there at night. You have to use the services that's on the ground. And those services have to take you to a level where you can fly, right? So it is not just for those persons who cannot afford it. It's for everyone.
Yeah, because you must be stabilized.
Of course.
Here in Grenada, I've known of situations of persons who had the means, they were trying to leave, and died before they could leave.
So I don't like to agree that it's for persons who are not able.
So
it's
everybody.
For everybody, because health. The thing about illness, it doesn't give you notice. Very often it doesn't give you notice, and when it comes on you, what happens the first couple hours after you take in determines whether or not you survive. So the concept is that we should make healthcare available, accessible, and affordable, and NHI is intended to do that, to ensure that the ordinary man, and you know that we have signed up as a government to the Sustainable Development Goals, the SDGs, and one of the goals is that healthcare should be available for everybody, and we are striving towards that. And that's why many countries are talking about, you'll hear the term universal health. And for those persons who are buying into the idea that we're taking the wrong step, we should have done universal health instead of national health insurance. Universal health is the ultimate. National health insurance is a financing mechanism that's eventually going to take you to universal health. So what universal health says is that there should be no barrier. There should be, it doesn't matter what's wrong with you, the state is supposed to take care of you. Now, of course, that means that the state have to have the resources to take care of you, because healthcare is not cheap. It is expensive. And any country that embarks on a national health insurance initiative recognizes that there has to be reallocation of resources. Because the tax dollars that we collect, there are different ministries competing for it: education, agriculture, health, social services. There are so many different ministries that's looking at that one tax dollar. Once a country takes the decision to go the national health insurance way, there has to be reallocation of resources, right? Because it is not a cheap thing. Fortunately for us in Grenada, Sheldon, and I say that in every place I get an opportunity to speak about NHI, we are fortunate in that if you want to go to see a private doctor in Grenada, it's because you want to go to see a private doctor. In essence, what I'm saying is that every Grenadian can get free medical attention if he wants it. Because we have our medical facilities that provides that. Medication is subsidized. When you get a prescription from the health center, what you pay for it, if you pay for it, is nothing compared to the cost. So we have established what I would call the framework, the backbone for such a system. In fact, when we explain what's happening in Grenada to countries like Bahamas, because Bahamas recently launched the NHI, they started with primary care. That's what we're doing now for free. People go into the health center, they see the doctor or the dentist, they get a prescription. Maybe sometimes it's $0, sometimes it's $5. That's what Bahamas is starting with. We already, I don't remember when Minister Modest was Minister of Health. She concentrated on ensuring that the medical facilities in the out parishes were shored up, right? And that basically is what the NHI is saying. Look, if we take care of the primary needs, prevention, then you have to spend monies down the road. And what is going to happen when the system comes into play? Initially, you may have a rush because people who would have probably had an illness and don't have the money would not have gone looking for the money to do it, but now it's available. They'll come and access it. So there'll be increased utilization of the services. But it will taper off. So NHI concept is, look, let us concentrate on preventative measures.
Okay.
It's only very recently private health insurance is including preventative care in their package. It was never there before. So what was happening is that I buy a private health insurance policy, and when I get sick, then I claim. And they recognize now claims are skyrocketing. So now they're saying, look, the service we provide now allows you to have 2, 3, 4 medical checkups every year on us. So once we flag what's wrong with you early, we spend less down the road. And that's the crux of NHI, preventative care. That's one of the things that must be taken care of. People have to ensure that they get screened early, they see that their medical practitioner, they get checked out so that we can flag it early to prevent what we do later, spend the monies when they're sick.
Because what we find happening, especially here in Grenada, is that we end up spending a pile of money on the back end of an illness, whereas it would have been cheaper had, for instance, men, and I'm speaking here specific to all men, not just men over 40, but men in general, because it's starting younger and younger now for things like prostate cancer. If we start screening earlier and it's caught early enough that the cost of treatment is cheaper,
right,
and the early up than having to try and deal with it and even prolong life afterwards. Various other diseases, same thing. It's cheaper to deal with them on the early part and even cure it in some instances. I know that our good friends out of Cuba, they have been saying that in a lot of cases, some of the people that end up coming to Cuba
come too late.
They can't do anything. If they had caught these persons, in some instances just months before, they would have been able to save their lives. But because they got them in the late stages, and it's just like there's nothing much that they can do.
You see, and that's why we say NHI is going to remove the barriers. And the reason why the men, well, apart from feeling that intimidated to get checked, one of the reasons why they don't go is because there's a cost to it. So, I mean, I ain't feel nothing wrong with me, so I ain't going to check, right? And that's our attitude. But now if you say it's part of your regime that you get checked, and that is just part of the system, then people will do it. So like I said, there'll be increased utilization, but at the end of the day, it's like spending 5 cents to save $50. So you go to do the preventative so that you don't have to go to the tertiary, because there are 3 basic levels. You have the primary, secondary, and tertiary level. Tertiary is for major interventions, and that's where the big monies are spent, So the concept, I don't think anybody in Grenada would say that they're against the concept of national health insurance. And, we will always find people who trying to figure out, well, why now? And why not this and why not the other? But in a national conversation, and Sheldon, I was engaged when we, I think it was 2016, 2017, we did national consultation. That's what we wanted to hear from the people. What are the views on NHI? And I led that drive then. And you would be interested to know that most of the people we engaged, when the question of how much would it cost comes up, and we say to them, look, healthcare is expensive, so under national health insurance there has to be a contribution, right? As to exactly what it is, it's still been worked out. And people are saying to us, we don't mind paying. We were able to report that the overwhelming public was saying, we don't mind paying. If we're going to get the service, we don't mind paying.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no question as to whether or not people are in agreement to making a contribution. And I'm saying paying, but we should say contribution, making a contribution towards the health. So we know it's there. It's just a matter of fine-tuning exactly how it is done and how much it will
Because you could find yourself paying over a period of a couple of years, just when you check it out, just a couple $100 or a couple $1,000. But then when it comes to treatment for you or somebody covered due to you, it could go into the tens of thousands of dollars for the particular type of treatment that individual needs over an extended period of time.
Apart from studying insurance, I was actually managing a life insurance company that offered health insurance, and I know the premiums that's paid. And when we do the research for 2017, the total health insurance premiums collected in Grenada was $4.7 million. $4.7 million, right? The claims paid was $4 million. Now, $4.7 million is deuce. It's small monies. Basically, you're looking at about 2 to 5% of the population have health insurance, and those persons generally are employed. Some group insurance, either public workers, teachers, whoever.
Or like a Grenada or somebody.
Inevitably, especially for the public service, government contributes 50% of the premium right now for those persons. So they put 50% and government puts 50%. But then the numbers are not big. So if you do not intervene with a system where more people are able to access health care, what you're basically looking at is that the vast majority of your population, 95% of your population, are exposed. And that's why we have this, I look at this motorcades and this sheets, begging sheets. Some of the monies don't get back to the people anyhow. And I'm saying people should not be put in a position where they have to depend on my charity or your charity to take care of themselves. And that's what NHI is intended to restore people's pride, right? Restore people's pride, because there are some persons who are ill, Sheldon, and they keep it a secret. They don't have the money, but they keep it a secret because they don't want to beg anybody for anything. So, they quietly sit there and pine away.
And then it's as I say, they don't tell anyone, it's the cost. For instance, if you are a dialysis patient, the cost of the medication and plus the weekly treatments, and notice I said weekly treatments because it's not one that you go to. Yeah. You go for about 3. I think in some instances they go for 3. Some people I think do 2. 2 per week, yeah. And I think it's $1,000 per treatment. So if you're not wealthy or if you don't receive some sort of other support, it is absolutely difficult for someone to get treatment when it comes to dialysis and that sort of thing.
Correct.
And if you have other problems that you need to get medication and you need to be medicated and so on, it is a problem for the average Grenadian. And even worse, when it comes to cancer, we spoke about prostate cancer, but you have people with lung cancer, you have some weird types of cancer that shows up sometimes. Remember, we had some individuals with some tumors and all these sort of things recently. And these things do require lots and lots of money to treat.
In fact, 2 days ago, I heard the senior medical officer in the Ministry of Health. That's Dr. Martin saying that cancer is the leading cause of death in Grenada. The leading cause of death in Grenada, followed by cardio. But cancer has basically taken the center stage as far as cause of death. Now, the thing is, cancer kills quickly when people are diagnosed. And I think it's a mental state when you know you have it, you basically say, look, there's nothing else that can be done. But there are people who are living, there are a lot of cancer survivors around. You check those persons, and it's either they have a cousin or a friend or relative that have the money to take them through. But there are people who, as we speak, are diagnosed and they cannot afford the treatment.
Mm-hmm.
So, it is not fair in a society to have, persons undergoing illnesses that can be treated.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the resources of the state is limited in terms of what they provide, and persons' pockets are also limited, and that's where the NHI factor comes in. It basically puts everyone practically on a level playing field.
Mm-hmm.
So the haves would live longer now because they can take care of whatever illness they have. The have-nots are not so unfortunate.
Okay.
And that's why it is sometimes called a social insurance, right? Because when a contribution is made, everybody contributes the same. So it is not, this guy is working for $10,000, so he's going to pay $1,000, and this one is working for $500, and he's going to pay $50. Everybody pays the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So there is this social level playing field. The contributions are put in a pot, and it takes care of everybody, So the public should know, or the listeners should know, that a lot of work have gone into this to date.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, the task started in 1998, 99. When the NEC came into office, they had a committee, and a notable achievement of that committee is a paper done by Dr. Theodore out of the UE, basically saying that Grenada is ripe for NHI. And in 2013, when the government reinstituted the committee, Senator Humphrey was asked to chair. I was also on that committee. We took the work from there and brought it to where it is right now. Grenada is one of the few countries in the world that have gone this NHI route and have done so much without expending millions of dollars. I mean, I was speaking to a doctor the other day, he's a foreigner, and I was saying to him, if you compare what we have spent in Grenada, to get to where we are, with what Turks and Caicos spent, they now have NHI, BVI have it, and Bahamas is the most recent one. And they will tell you they spent millions of dollars to get there. I could tell you, apart from, the budget from the Ministry of Health, which is not massive,
Mm-hmm.
the largest sum of monies that was spent on NHI, the process, was through a grant received from IBSC, India, Brazil, and South Africa, about $655,000. And that's the money that was used for UE to do the work, the technical work that they have done, and the secretariat, set up the secretariat. So we have been fortunate. St. Lucia just took a loan of $20 million US
Whoa.
to do what we have done. They are not anywhere close to where we are. And they just took a loan from the World Bank of $20 million to do their research and do the papers. We practically have almost everything that's needed to go to the next level.
Mm.
So Grenadians can rest assured that the government is doing what is necessary to ensure that they have NHI. And notwithstanding the naysayers, a lot have been done with little. And there are some policy decisions that need to be taken with regard to how are people going to be paying for this, right? I mean, there are different schools of thoughts, but we can be guided by institutions like PAHO and WHO that suggesting to developing countries that contribution should not be salary-based, right, or wage-based, because what wage-based contributions basically are going to call on the established workers to pay, and the non-established workers, the
benefit,
self-employed, they benefit but they don't pay.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, you have a higher level of delinquency. Employers collecting monies and not passing it over. You know, I mean, in BVI, they decided to go the wage-based route. And I read a paper from the director, and they have millions of dollars outstanding. After the hurricane, employers are saying, well, we can't pay, all sorts of reasons.
Excuses.
You know, excuses are being. So, I mean, like I said, Grenada have not yet decided on the route, but PAHO, WHO, other institutions are suggesting that we should consider VAT type system like they do in Ghana. Ghana have introduced what they call a health levy, where it's something like VAT, but it captures everybody. So the guy who doesn't want to work, right? He makes his living asking for donations. I don't want to say begging.
Mm-hmm.
When he gets his money, he can't eat the money. He has to spend it. So you capture him. Those returning nationals who living among us, they're not working, but they spend. So everybody, once you're a consumer, you make your contribution towards the fund. And that's the kind of suggestion that's been made from PAHO, WHO, and certainly that's my...
And just a suggestion.
Yes,
let's let you all know it's just a suggestion.
Just a
That's
suggestion.
not what... It doesn't say that is what is going to be instituted.
No, yeah.
It's a suggestion.
That's a suggestion. And you know, it has to be... You see, it has to be an equitable thing, because you want to ensure that the persons who are accessing are contributing. And you would agree with me, if it's strictly wage-based, and I am a self-employed person, I'm a farmer or fisherman or a plumber, I pay myself based on the wages I collect, or the monies I collect from my job.
Mm-hmm.
You may say to me, well, you can make a contribution. I don't have to. But when I register under NHI and I walk into a medical center and I show my card, nobody's going to ask me, are you contributing? Once I'm registered, I am entitled to access the funds. So, yes, it's a suggestion that you should do it so that it captures everybody. But that is one of the issues that have to be dealt with in terms of how would this thing be paid for? Because it is not cheap. I mean, I can tell you that right now I think government spends about $67 million. I don't have the figure directly, but government spends on health right now. Under NHI system, government would have to increase their contribution because they're indigent in our society. You see, because it's really a policy that government adopts. We want to take care of our people. And I just want to say this now. For those persons who figure that Grenada's health system is in crisis, tell them, do their research. I have friends in other countries, Sheldon, that would say to me, if somebody falls sick and they have to call an ambulance, you better have the money to pay. If somebody goes to see a doctor, you better have the money to pay. In Grenada, you're taken to the casualty. Nobody asks you, do you have money? Whatever you need, the x-ray is done, you're given a bed in a hospital. And when you leave, you tell the nurses and the doctors, thank you. That's what we have in Grenada right now. You know, in other countries, it's not like that. So for those persons who are beating up on our health system, tell them do their research.
Okay.
Because we think, it reminds me, and I'll give you a chance to speak. I guess I'm saying it. It reminds me of this guy. He had one banana, and he decided he was going to eat that banana and kill himself because he thought he was badly off. When he threw the skin away, he saw another guy, picked it up, and he ate the skin. And he said, I'm not going to kill myself. I thought I was badly off, but there are people worse off than me. In Grenada, we are very fortunate. We have a system. We decide whether we want to use it or not.
Mm-hmm. And folks, we're speaking there with Mr. Stan Phillip. We've been joined by Senator the Honorable Judd Cadet. Good morning to you, Senator. I hope everything is going well on your end.
Yes, good morning to you as well. And good morning to you, Devon. Good morning to you, Senator. No, I cannot hide away from that. But it's a great opportunity to be here as always. It always brings me a great joy to be here in Hard Talk and to discuss national issues of national importance with the public. As you bring up the issue of national health insurance, this is important, and it's actually reflecting the government policies that are putting people at the center of development. We have to understand that healthcare is quite expensive. Even your own individual health, you look at it, it's really expensive. We have to look at ways in how we can ensure that healthcare is affordable. And if you're looking at developing the healthcare sector, it's not just an infrastructure, it's not just a building, it's more than that. And therefore, it is important that we see the national health insurance a part of that development. Some may say it's a discussion that has been happening for a long time, but you have to get it right. And that is the most important thing. You don't want to do something, you don't want to implement something that has a lot of flaws or glitches, and then to the point that you have to get rid of it. This is too much of an important thing to be rushed. And you don't want it to be rushed. I mean, it could be rushed once it's going to get right, but you want to ensure that it's done well and the people is going to benefit at all costs.
But that's an important aspect of it, because one of the questions I wanted to pose to Stan especially was looking at the costs of healthcare in general. And let's just be honest with each other. There's no country on earth that has a perfect healthcare system. None. It doesn't exist. None. No country on earth. There are some that have good ones. There are some that might have even what you could consider excellent ones. But none has a perfect system. Because even in the Middle East, where these countries have billions of dollars, they leave and go to the United States and different parts of Europe for treatment. And they're multi-billionaires. They leave and travel to other countries to get medical treatment. So it's as if they have to do that. You could find other countries with less means that similar things have to take place. But has the committee ever looked at a regional approach to the NHI instead of just Grenada in one pool? That, for instance, the OECS, the same way as we have the dollar, in a pool, Grenada, Montserrat, St. Kitts, Anguilla, wherever, in a pool, in relation to the contributions and the ability, and establishing different centers in different islands, whether you want one island to be the center for cancer treatment, another one in relation to dialysis and so on, and different areas, whether it's cardiovascular or neurology or whatever it is, different areas. Have the committee ever looked at that, looking outside of Grenada into a more of a regional approach?
Well, I could answer. Let me speak to the last part first. The suggestions are ongoing to create what is called centers of excellence at different countries. So instead of one country, every country trying to have a cardiovascular hospital, for example, you have one in the region. So that discussion is ongoing. The problem with the implementation of NHI on a regional basis is one of timing. Each country is at a different stage in terms of preparing for NHI or universal health care. So the question is, should I wait for St. Vincent or Dominica, or should I push on? I think eventually, when every country establishes their system, you'll be in a better position to gel them. But because every country is at a different stage, it's unwise to wait until somebody catch up. Like Grenada in this part of the OECS, Grenada is ahead, right? Like I said, St. Lucia just got a loan to do theirs. St. Vincent is talking about it. St. Kitts, everybody's talking about it. But we are the most advanced. Like I said, the countries in the Caribbean that have implemented this, English speaking, and you may not see it in the Caribbean, is Turks and Caicos,
Northern,
British Virgin Islands, and Bahamas, right? There are certain elements of national health insurance that some countries would have put in, like in Antigua. There is a system there, but it's not national health or universal health. It's just some provisions are made to help people who are unable to take care of themselves. So, yeah, ultimately, a regional approach would be ideal because universal health or national health insurance is like any insurance. Numbers is what makes the difference. And we are about 100,000 here. If everybody can pull, then we have better buying power because it's insurance. And the same way a regular insurance company buys reinsurance for catastrophic losses, the same way NHI has to do the same thing. We have to ensure that when your claim reaches a certain level, it won't bust your fund. And the only way your fund will be protected is if you have some other layer you can point to recover. Yeah.
Mr. Philip, there has been persons who have raised the whole issue of NHI, National Health Insurance, and the NIS, right, in terms of the benefits, health benefits that, for example, the NIS gives, right, and what is proposed for the National Health Insurance. Some are saying that why should we get involved with the National Health Insurance and we already pay NIS, which covers some medical, aspects, and so sort of bring us through and let people understand, what the difference is and the benefits that will derive from the health system itself.
So NIS's principal purpose is to take care of pensions, right? That's the principal purpose. The laws amended to include employment injury, so that's there is some level of health benefit offered by NIS, but those persons who are proposing this are forgetting that NIS is paying those persons who are making contributions to them. If you're not a contributor to NIS, you cannot access NIS's benefits. And if you do a census, you'll notice that there are quite a number of employers, self-employed persons, who are not NIS cardholders. The NIS kicks in at a certain age when you become employed. So there are groups of persons who, like our students, for example, they're not under NIS. So if we do not provide a health service that would capture them, how would they be covered? All right? Because NIS's principal role is really for pension, Social Security. So you would hear people say this, but those persons are not aware probably of the role of the NIS. Added to that, the NIS has to be particular that the funds that come into them are set aside for Judd. I mean, I'm old already, but he's young. In essence, what I'm saying is that it has to be sustainable. So there'll be no mixture of funds, and I think people need to understand that. NHI would not be accessing funds from NIS, neither the reverse, because it's for two separate purposes. You have Social Security on the one hand and health on the other hand, right? So their functions are different, and I say all the time, when NHI comes into being, it will eclipse NIS. Eclipse, because you have a situation where one institution is taking care of workers. Another institution is taking care of the country. So if you have 100,000 persons in Grenada, each of those persons are entitled to benefit under NHI. That's not the same under NIS. It's only those who are working, those who are contributing to that system.
Yes, indeed. And it's now 42 minutes after the hour of 11 o'clock. We have roughly 18 minutes remaining on the program. We have in studio with us Senator the Honorable Judd Cadet and Mr. Stan the Man Philip. Yeah, both of them in studio with us this morning. We've been speaking NHI, National Health Insurance. But I want to veer off the National Health Insurance slightly, because there's another issue that came up over the past 2 weeks, and it's a transportation-related issue. And Senator Cadet, I know you as a St. Andrew man. And you, as also a young person, you've been interacting with a lot of the young people that work in the south of the island. What are your views on the plans of Cabinet now to institute that new bus route from St. Andrew, coming down through St. David, and coming through Woodlands, going down into the south of the island?
Well, I think that's an excellent move by the government. It is important to note that our development, which most people know of as a fact, is that there are several developments happening in the south of the island. I've seen a lot of the cases in the mornings that sometimes you can't get a bus to come down because, a lot of person is heading down. And I believe that if you have a route from the new bus route from Grenville to the south, I think that's an excellent. I mean, I don't see why you have to come here in St. George, then take a bus from St. George to Granans, and then to come back Granans again to Tongue to go. No, I think if we have that direct access, I think that's good. And transportation is important to getting people to and fro their workplace, and it's going to boost the economy in a big way, in my opinion. I think that's an excellent move, and I think it will be appreciated by the general public. From my assessment, in conversation with persons, it seems that they like the move by the government. So I must commend the government on that. It's just a matter of that the respect for the law by the different bus members. You might have a situation that one man wants to. A busman from Granans may want to take that route and move to Grenville, and that might be.
You could get a sticker.
Well, that's no, but what I'm trying to say, you need to respect the law. If you want to have a sticker, yes, but I mean, in an event that you may trying to break the law because you may think that a Grenville man, eating away from your profit or food. I don't see that way, but that may be the view from their end. And what was rightly said is that there was consultation in the process, and once everyone, the stakeholders in the process, agreed to what we were doing, not only that, but understanding that the major beneficiary from that would definitely be the citizen of the state. And I think that's an excellent move.
Sheldon, my office is in Paddock. All right?
Wow.
Right next to Otway's gas station. So I see what happens in the morning and in the afternoon. The buses from that side drop the people in an area where they're not supposed to drop them. In fact, I've seen where policemen have waved the buses on. So those persons who tight on time would have said, look, if I come off here, I'll get a Granans bus and I'll be at work on time. He has to go to the terminal. So, like anything else, once there are changes involved, there will be persons who would have issues. And I've been discussing with some people, and their concern is that the bus drivers in the south, Granans bus drivers, are saying that this would take monies out of their pocket because they depend heavily on the drop-offs from around the Paddock area. When these people drop there, they get the Granans buses. They use, it's not a bus stop, the bottom section of Otway gas station. That's where they go, and the buses take them to Granans. But I keep saying changes always bring opportunities. And it's just a matter of a bus driver is a businessman. It means that the drivers who would have drop their passengers in St. George's and then turn around would now have a route. Now, I've seen that from that Woodlands route. I mean, this place. If you're living in that area,
You could forget
is
it.
difficult to get transportation.
forget it,
So
yeah.
you're providing that service, and then it's up to you as a bus owner to determine what happens when you drop the people off. Now, you would not, in my opinion, that route would not be used regularly, right? It would be used mainly in peak times.
Yeah,
right?
the morning and the
Right. So as a bus driver and a bus owner, you then plan your work accordingly. Now, as to whether the Grand Anse bus drivers would be comfortable with that St. Andrew or St. David bus taking people from Grand Anse, because when you go down there, you drop people off. You would not close your doors and don't pick people back up. But whether or not your route would now have to be Grand Anse back to Grenville or Grand Anse to Terminal, right? Because I think the concern is that if it's Grand Anse to Terminal, then you are taken out of
the number one.
Our people, and that I think has to be worked out.
Yeah.
But in my view, if it should be time sensitive, so what should really happen is that route is worked at peak times, so the bus drivers and owners know it's a peak time route. So that Grenville bus or St. David bus does not ply the Grand Anse route, as a short route.
You see, I think there must be for example, in the Grand Anse area, right? There must be a mini terminus, if you will say, for the drop off and pick up. There must be a special area within Grand Anse that when these buses come from Grenville and drop there, right? They must either pick up passengers who are going back from the same route, right, and not.
But you won't find because you see the people who come down with the buses come to work. They're not getting off until 4 in the evening.
Yeah.
So I don't think that the return route at the same time would be a feasible one. I think what has to be worked out is what happens after the drop off. If you're allowed to travel to the terminal, you take people on that route to the terminal. Your next trip should be back to where you came from and not back to Grand Anse. I think once that's controlled, then we shouldn't have a problem.
I think, though, that there is still a problem if it's done in that way, because I can tell you that if you're going down there now, you will meet some persons right after the Woodlands Junction there. And yes, the Springs, Woodlands, Woburn buses, they make that round and they come round, but they don't go through Grand Anse Valley. So you often find people just at that junction there, across where you have that smelly area there, Woburn Junction there, standing and flagging rides, and some of them, they try to walk because they look at the weather, they say that rain look like it's going to fall, they try to walk to see if they can make it to the other end. And on the other side, you have people trying to make it coming this way, flagging rides. Because you have people that are working in so many different sectors there, that there are always people trying to make it from one side to the other. And if it's specific, I know, for instance, what you're speaking about, but the paddock area, there are specific times of the day you see a big crowd of people there.
Right.
Early in the morning time, evening time, anywhere from about 3:30 going back, you see crowds of people there. But outside of that, there's always that level of traffic of people trying to get from one end or the other through that Woodlands Junction. But we have a wider problem because it's not just there. You live on the West Coast and you see what happens when you're going up late in the night. When you're going up after 9, 10 in the night and you reach by Keep Left, you're seeing what's going on. Senator, you live in St. Andrew. And if you're going over the hills and you see what happens when people standing up by Decol after 9, 10 in the night trying to get from one location to the other, what do we do?
Well, I think, I sat at one time on the transport board, and I've always proposed or promoted a regulation in terms of time. I think we have quite a number of buses in Grenada, but because the operation is ad hoc, you find that everybody operates in what they call the peak times, and then everybody goes home tired, because of course they'll be tired. So if a guy is planning the route for the entire day, At 7 o'clock, he's home. He's not going anywhere else. But there are passengers. There are people who are still traveling. So I think it's a matter of, and that could be handled by the bus associations. I mean, you have numbers. You say, look, guys, let us walk smart. Because, you see, the time has passed for working harder. I mean, you have to walk smart now. Because you can regulate your drivers and say, look, I'm going to do the 6 to 9 route. You're going to do the 9 to 11. Just share it around. And eventually it would level off, but everybody wants to hustle. So.
But see, that's the problem. A level of discipline doesn't exist in some of the associations. So they would say on a Sundays that bus this and that and the other is going to make the trip. And then a bus driver gets up and he says, well, no, I had to pay the bank. I decide I run in. If I make money, I could pay the bank this week, or I have school books to buy, so I'm running. And nobody can tell him no.
You know what they did in St. Lucia? The St. Lucian government virtually bought all the buses from the private bus owners, made it a national transportation, and they hired the drivers. So the routes are regulated. You know a bus is coming at 9 or 10 or 11, and you can plan your life around that. I mean, here you can't. I mean, you have to get to St. George's at a particular time, and you know on the West Coast, for example, there's a drought for buses at a particular time. So you have to get there 3 hours before, because if you wait, you won't get a bus. But I think we have sufficient buses that they could self-regulate themselves. They can organize how we should run and when we should run, and it would cost them a lot less money. That's how I see it.
Because I know people, for instance, who are working in St. Patrick, that they get up after 5 in the morning to get a bus to be down in town, and they're working for 8, but they generally get down in town before 7.
Yes.
Or sometimes exactly at 7, they're down in town early, and it is because of the transportation issues. They have to make sure.
I had an experience. I was in England, and my sister was not living very far from the bus stop. I came out from the gap, as we call it, and the bus was on the bus stop. I was running towards the bus. The guy never stopped. If you're not there, you don't get picked up. There's a certain level of, no, serious.
Yeah, it's not Grenada. Nobody knocking the bus and say, take one.
No. And I rode on our buses, and a guy is living here, and he knocks the door, and somebody's living 2 houses down, and he's not going to come off. When he gets there, he'll knock the door, and the bus driver starts up. I mean, the bus just stopped. But we get used to that, So, I think it's a good opportunity for the bus drivers to reorganize themselves. I know they're organized, and they can schedule them. They can self-regulate, because you do not want the government, and I would not suggest that government get involved. But you don't want people to regulate you. You have a good business, and you can, among yourselves, organize routes so that somebody who lives in St. John's and want to go to the cinema and doesn't have a car, if he knows that there's a bus that leaves St. John's at 6 and leaves St. George's at 10 in the night, he's go to the cinema. So the transportation can spur trade, can spur activities. I mean, why do you think stores close at 4 and 5? Because everybody goes home after work. Nobody comes back, so...
You're taking a chance to come back in town because you ain't sure, especially for a 2-drop of rainfall, do it for you. Bus driver going and park up by the bar closest to home, take a 2 drink, and then he going home.
Going home, yes.
So, because I think we have a larger problem when it comes to transportation. I think government is attempting to address that bit by bit. The first with this new bus route that's being instituted, because we have the Kimpton by Kawana being built down there. That's going to provide significant employment again in the south of the island. You have expansion due for Cinnamon Hill. You have expansion due for True Blue Bay Resort. You have the Silver Sands is already built, but that entity is about to build 2 more facilities in the south. And for those of you who went into True Blue about 5 years ago, and you're going to True Blue then, and you're going to True Blue now, it's a different place. It's a place that look like New York. It's skyscraper left, right, and center. And with all of that taking place, a lot of people from St. Andrew and St. Patrick and St. David, they go to work in that part of the island, even on public holidays, and they have a serious problem getting down to work and getting back. Even if the company has a vehicle and it's dropping them a certain distance, it just drops them a certain distance, then they have to fight up on their own.
I really feel sad when I see our young ladies on the road, like 11 and 12 in the night.
Yeah.
Looking for a ride to get home. I mean, I thank God every day that we're living in a peaceful country. We live in a country where people don't take advantage of people. Because, I mean, they're flagging rides. They don't know who's behind the wheel, and they take chances every day to earn a living.
We have brave young women.
Of course. And I'm saying the bus drivers and bus owners should look for opportunities. You can do a census.
Exactly.
Go to each of the hotels. How many persons are working, living out there? So you know that if you put a system in place, you're guaranteed 15 persons every day. And then you make arrangements, say, look, there's a guy from St. John that used to be doing this. I don't know if you heard about Lele.
Yeah, Lele, yeah, man. That's my boss.
Lele used to be taking care of that. And people know, and they will call him and say, I'm on my way. So that kind of service is needed. So a bus driver can decide, look, I know I have the bank to pay, but I have a trade. So between 8 and 3, I'm going to apply my trade. I'll go out to work at 8 in the evening or at 9. I'm going to do 3 hours. Listen, it's only in Grenada we believe in this one job thing, Only in Grenada we believe that. Because over there, they know they can survive on one wage. But here, we feel comfortable. We don't want to do anything else. But there are opportunities, and with the development that's happening in the country, I think people need to open their eyes. People need to see that there are opportunities and grab hold of those opportunities and don't wait, because what you may find happening is that somebody from overseas would come and see the opportunity and they'll do something here, and then we start complaining that, it's a foreigner that's doing this, but it's right before us and we're not grabbing.
Yeah. And you see, the thing is this as well, because remember, you even have developments coming in St. David, and you might
heard about the groundbreaking that would be done this week.
I'm trying to figure out what
this. It's October. It's not October.
It's October.
It's October. It's been pushed back to October.
Well,
because
I noticed the construction will have to. It's most likely will start in October.
Yeah, but the groundbreaking itself, I think, is sometime this week for the facility. And the thing is, you might be surprised to find that there are fellas coming from Grenada to go and work up there.
Yeah.
Especially if it's a specialist area, like they're doing tiling or they're doing something specific. And they'll be leaving Grenada to go up. So they need transport too. It's not just people from up coming down. It's some people from down that need to go up and come back down as well.
Very much.
Need that assistance. So I'm glad to see that the cabinet has taken that decision and decided to institute that bus route. And also the other one, there's one that they instituted as well.
From Beaton.
Yeah. Continuing from Beaton going down to Redgate. I can tell you from personal experience, I had a business in Beaton. And it was a problem, especially late at night sometimes when you couldn't get something going through Beaton. So you had to go and you take a bus going from Redgate side and then walk up the road to Beaton. And so and believe me, if rain falling, that do it for you.
Serious problem.
Yeah, and even in the daytime, you had that problem sometimes. You had to drop down and you're walking up and you ain't seeing anything coming down or going down, up or down. So I'm glad to see that bus route has been put in as well. So buses don't have to terminate in Beaton. They can go straight down to Redgate officially as part of their bus route. I think that's a wonderful move.
Right.
Especially if you're living in St. Paul's or so and you want to go to Grenville. Let's say you're living in St. Paul's and you want to go to Grenville. As it is right now, you have to take a bus from St. Paul's and come to St. George and then take a Grenville bus and go up to Grenville. What this does is that if you're living in St. Paul's, you can take the bus, go to Redgate, and you can, from Redgate, you just grab a Grenville bus and you go up. Yeah, you cut your time and so on. So, gentlemen, we've come to the end of today's program, and we let the listeners know you'll be seeing these two gentlemen in studio very regularly. Yeah, you'll be seeing them regularly coming in. Yeah, and speak on different issues. Any closing words? We'll start with you.
Yeah, I think as Grenadians we need to at least recognize that we have a government that is really caring. We tend as human beings to dwell on the negatives, but the opportunities that's been provided I'm not even talking about development opportunities, but I'm coming back to my core issue with the national health insurance. Grenadians would benefit tremendously from it. And improve health means improve production. So, guys, just come on board, spread the word. It's something that's going to benefit not only you, but your children.
Yes, indeed.
Well, Senator, what I will say is this, is that I see the opportunities as we continue to develop as a small island state. There are a number of opportunities that is coming forth as you look at the issue of transportation. I just want to say before we close on the transportation issue, it's also an opportunity for young persons to look at it and how do you incorporate things like technology to make this very simple and easy to do, to regulate the system. That is how Uber started. Travis and his friend was in Paris, and they wanted to go get some stuff, and they couldn't get it took them a very long time to get a cab. So he said, why in this modern era technology, why do I have to wait so long to get a cab? So then the idea of Uber started right there because there was an issue with the transportation system. So I'm saying that I'm hearing the conversation in the room among young persons that, yes, we should do something similar like that down here. And this will provide them an opportunity to do just that, so that transportation will be accessible. People can be able to travel to wherever they want to go. Additionally, as we looked at to see the development that will come in St. David's and around the island, because a number of things that will happen this year and next year. Young persons need to get themselves very much prepared and ready for those opportunities. So we just need to continue what we're doing. People need to continue developing themselves because opportunities can be available and people are not ready for those opportunities. And finally, on the national health insurance, I believe this is a step in the right direction. And we must not just see this as any ordinary policy of the government, but more so of an issue that we all can benefit from. And therefore, we must support this. I know that we're trying to work out now the method of financing of it. And once that is done, I urge all Grenadians to support it. And that being said, I want to wish everyone an enjoyable weekend.
Okay. Yeah, they're going out to the Dragons Bay tonight. It's free.
That's
and Deluxe Cinema tomorrow.
Deluxe Cinema tomorrow, Carriacou bars.
And then Sunday
we have the
Kingdom at Natural Works. Yeah, so they're going out there.
At 8 p.m.
Yeah, Kaiso whole weekend. Okay. Yeah, wonderful Kaiso. Yes, indeed. Folks, that's all the time we have for Hard Talk today. It's been wonderful being here with you. In whatever you say and do it safe and secure. We want to be speaking to and with you.
And not about you.
Once again, thank you to our guests. Thank you to our technical operator who only just see running the door there. Yeah, the technical. Yeah, technical man, just running the door. And for all of you who've called and contributed in whichever way to the program this week, we thank you all so very much. Do enjoy the rest of your weekend. We are out of here.
Grenada's economy is heading for its 7th year of consistent growth, averaging over 5%. Unemployment was reduced by 20%, while debt to GDP ratio was reduced from 108% to 63.5%. NNP committed to the economic and social development of our people. NNP delivering on the promise. Stay up to date with all that's happening with the new national party, NNP. Send us a message via text or WhatsApp on 405-8683 with your name, email, and constituency. Stay in the know with NNP. Get updated.